So the big question is this: how do you lose all the weight that you want and actually keep it off for the rest of your life, while trying to make sense of all the noise that comes from the weight loss industry? That is the question. And this podcast will give you the answers.
G'day guys, and welcome to the next episode of the Weight Loss Secrets podcast. My name is Baron Grant and I'm excited to have you with me again to be able to talk through some ideas and tricks and tips that are going to be able to help you to make changes in your life to lose all the weight you want and literally keep it off. That is what this is all about. That's what the goal of this podcast is. There's so many misconceptions and so much nonsense that people talk about when it comes to losing weight, and we're going to break it all down and talk the facts and how it really works. And as always, this podcast is brought to you by Ditching the Diet. So if you want more information about what I do and how I help people, head to ditchingthediet.com, where you can download my ebook, look at my programs, all that sort of stuff. And I just added a new button today where you can go to the top right-hand corner of ditchingthediet.com, and there's an opportunity there just to book a call directly with me. Over the last few days, I've had a few emails of people saying, hey, how do I actually chat with you about what you do? I need your help. I've had these messages. So instead of going backwards and forwards like that, head to the website and you can just book a call in a time that's going to suit you and me, and we can get together on the phone and have a chat, and I might be able to help you on your journey. Okay, with all that said, today I want to talk about something that I think is extremely important when it comes to losing weight, and that is what goes on between your ears. Your mind, your mindset, everything associated with this beast that is between our ears in our brain is so important, because I'm a big believer that what happens in your brain has a physiological effect on your body. So we've got to get this right. So many people I speak to don't believe they can lose weight. So many people are in this mindset that their body must be broken and nothing works for them, and somehow their body actually operates different to everybody else. None of that's true, really. And so what I want you to think about today as we go through it is, all right, how do I get my head in the right place to win on this thing? And the one topic I want to talk about today around that is really identifying your reason why you're trying to lose weight in the first place. If we don't nail this down and get really solid on it, then you'll never actually get there. Because as soon as you have a tough day and the wind's blowing, it becomes a little harder, you'll fall over. And you'll go, no, it's too hard, blow it. Because your reason is not deep enough, it's not hard enough, it's not strong enough to actually stay the course when it hurts, right? So I like to ask people questions on my phone calls that I do with people. We talk about lots of different things about where they're at, what they've tried in the past, all this sort of stuff. But we also talk about the best foods to eat, and I go through all that stuff with them, break down what they're eating now. But this question is the most important, I believe, and I want to ask you the question today. So I want you to think about where you're at and why you're doing this. Because if you're listening to this or watching this on YouTube, you are clearly in the place where you're trying to lose weight and you're on a process, or you're doing something to try and make changes. The question is this: tell me why you want to change. What don't you like about being the weight you are right now? You might be 150 kilos, you might be 130 kilos, you might be 80 kilos, you might be 65 kilos. I don't know where you're at. But tell me, or write down, tell yourself, because you can't tell me through the screen or through the headphones, I want you to write down why you actually want to move from where you are. Because that's the most important thing. If you don't nail this, nothing will change. So what don't you actually like about being the weight you are? And that might seem really confronting to talk about, to write down, to do anything with. Because generally, it sort of goes to the heart of who you are and your confidence and that sort of stuff. So as you're thinking about it, I want to go through some of the responses that I get initially, and then when I press a bit more, what do I actually get? So I've been asking these type of questions for many years when I used to own my gym as well, and people would come into my gym and they'd say, I want to lose some weight. I'm like, yeah, why? And they would say, oh, because I've got a birthday coming up. And I'm like, that's never the reason. And even when I talk to people on the phone now, I ask the same why questions. I say, tell me why you want to lose weight. And they say, because my clothes don't fit. And I said, yeah, okay. So give me a bit more. Give me a bit more. And we go through a discussion to find out what is the real reason. And interestingly enough, it's never normally about an event coming up for people. Because if it is, it's going to be a short-term loss and a short-term gain back again. So we don't want that. So what I say to people is you've got to have a long-term reason, because it's about changing and about being healthy. Now, some people say, well, it feels a bit vain because I want to look different. And I said, that's okay. Everybody wants to look their best. But what's the deeper reason? And when I uncover it, a lot of it comes to confidence. People are not confident to go out. They're not confident to go out and socialize. They're not hanging out with their friends. They feel so uncomfortable in their own skin. Sometimes they put a shield up to act like they're not. And maybe it's a gruff shield or a grumpy shield, but they act like, no, I'm all good. I don't need to do anything. I feel totally fine. That just makes them feel more comfortable with where they're at. But you've got to find out that reason. I had one lady, she said to me, and this made me quite sad, but she said, she must have been mid-40s. And she said, Baron, I can't look at myself in a mirror. I'm so disgusted. And so I've taken all the mirrors down in my house. I was like, oh, that's not good. It made me so sad that somebody feels like that in their life and they can't even look at themselves, right? But I've had lots of these type of phone calls. I often get, when I talk to women, I don't feel comfortable being intimate with my husband. These type of conversations all the time. And for me, it's so important when you identify why you want to change. Because for me, you've got to make the decision that that's where I am and that's not where I'm going to be anymore. So why do you want to change? What don't you like about where you're at right now? That doesn't mean that you hate yourself and you get self-loathing and spend hours on it. No, I want you to spend 5 minutes on it. 5 minutes, identify what you want, why you want to change from the weight that you currently are, right? Then you've got to do the other question as well though, which is, tell me what is going to be amazing in your life when you get to your goal weight. You might be 130 kilos right now and your goal weight is 70. That might seem like you're standing at the bottom of Mount Everest trying to look up to the top and going, bull crap, Baz. There's no way I'm getting all the way up there. It's too far. You will. You will if you make the decision to go and do it and make good choices every day. 100% you will get there. There's nothing actually stopping you except you, except us. Like we make our own decisions and we've got to stick to the path. But what's going to be different when you get there? When you climb that Mount Everest, what is different? And that's what you have to identify as well. So if you're not happy with where you are because of how you're looking clothes, because of you don't have confidence going out with your friends, because you can't fit the seatbelt around your stomach when you're on the plane, and that's super embarrassing and super uncomfortable, and what are the reasons? You have to write those down and be really raw and open and honest with yourself. But the flip side is just as important, and that is writing down what is going to be amazing in your life. And what are you going to be able to achieve? What are you going to be able to do? How are you going to feel? How are you going to be able to chase your kids around? How is that going to make you feel inside? Because that's what you're chasing. It's not the numbers on the scales. The numbers on the scales are actually it's just a tick box to say that you're going in the right direction. It's how you feel inside, how you feel in your mind. How's it going to feel when you wake up in the morning and you don't have to try on 6 sets of clothes before you sit down and cry on the bed because you hate with the way that you look? Well, that's going to feel pretty damn good because I'm going to get up, I can pick anything I want out of the cupboard, and I'm going to feel comfortable with what I see in the mirror, and I'm going to go out and get life and stop living life on the sidelines. So I want you to think about those 2 questions today. Why do you want to change? What don't you like about where you're at right now? And tell me what's going to be amazing in your life when you get to where you want to be, when you get to that goal weight, right? And when you do this, I promise you'll get more excited about the process, understanding that the process is not always fun. The view from the top of Mount Everest would be absolutely breathtakingly crazy good. But most people don't have the courage or the desire to do the insane amount of work, and that's not a blight on anybody, I don't, to do the insane amount of work to go from the ground all the way to the top. But it would be exhilarating and breathtaking, literally breathtaking because there's barely any oxygen there, but breathtaking and stuff to stand at the top and see the summit. But it's the same with weight loss. If you want that feeling of feeling confident and happy and sexy and wonderful and terrific and more energy and less tired and breathing better and sleeping better, all of those things come from losing weight, but you've got to think really, how is that going to feel different for you in your life? And when you identify that, it gives you the power to go and chase it. So when you're going out for a walk the next day after you've started to make changes and your legs start to hurt a little bit, and you're a little bit tired and you're like, oh, I've got other things that I need to do. No, because that's where I was. That's how I'm feeling at the moment. And this is where I'm going. And it makes you totally stay more determined in the process. But you first must identify your reason why you are doing it. Because I can promise you this, if you get really nailed down with the reason why you're doing it, the reason why you're shifting from A to point B, you will be so invested in the process that it becomes easy. That is when the process of weight loss becomes easy. Because the stuff that tempted you before, the crap food that you wanted to eat, becomes irrelevant. Because the reason is so big and so grand and so wonderful that you know how good you're going to feel at that point when you get there. So if someone gives you a Snickers bar and you're like, what the heck would I want to eat that for? I know that if I don't eat that, I'm going to get to this point down the track so much faster. So that's the message today. Why do you want to lose weight? What don't you like about being the weight you are right now? And then don't dwell in that. Write it down, be detailed, but then what is going to be amazing in your life when you lose the weight and keep it off? I tell you what, it's going to feel amazing. It's going to taste amazing, smell amazing, everything amazing once you get there and keep it off. So I want you to go away today and identify those things. Why move from where you are and what is going to be incredible when you get there? I promise you it will be incredible when you do get there, but you've got to get your head in the right place first to make sure you can win on this game. You got this thing. Identify your why, get involved, get your head in the place so it affects your body in a really positive way. You got this. Talk soon.